What's going on, world? It's your boy Holiday Zay with Let's Talk Ship, and today we are discussing a tip, a very simple tip that can either make your cruise vacation a great one or it can make your cruise vacation a major inconvenience. So with that, let's talk ship. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't done so already, do your boy a favor, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. So with today's tip, I personally feel that it can be very helpful for a lot of you, especially my first time cruisers and my new cruisers. And what I mean by my first times, it's your very first time going on a cruise. And what I mean by my new cruisers, this is like your second, third, maybe fourth. Okay, once you hit 4 or 5, you should know pretty much the basics, right? So for my first time and my new cruisers, this tip is doing your research on the stateroom before you actually book it. There was an article that I read about a year ago, some time ago, and there was a lady. Some of you probably read the same article. There was a lady who made a complaint, this was on a Carnival ship, about the stateroom that she chose. The complaint was when people were to walk by her stateroom, she could see people looking in her stateroom at her. And I know some of you are probably like, wait, what? How? Well, was her door open? No. Her door was actually closed. So you're probably wondering, well, what stateroom exists to where your door can be closed, but a person can walk right by your stateroom and make eye contact with you? That would be the Havana Cabana stateroom. If you don't know what that is, it is on board a select few of Carnival ships, right? It's not on every single ship, it's on a select few. And the stateroom type is called Havana Cabana. And it's not a balcony. You have like a patio area. You have a enclosed patio area. And you can walk out on that patio area. You have seating and a little table for you to put your coffee, your food. If you want to eat out there, it's perfectly fine. And you can see far out into the ocean. You know, I won't say you have the best view. You don't have a view like a balcony, but you can see out into the ocean. However, your patio is here, your room's here, your patio is here, and then outside of your patio is the public walkway. And then there's that plexiglass or whatever that protects you from falling over the side. So the walkway is public. So if I'm walking this way and the stateroom is this way and I just happen to look to my right, you could be in there getting busy or changing clothes and I look over, and because you don't have your curtains closed, I can look right in. Now for some people, they might be into that. For others, they might have a reaction like the lady, okay? She wasn't happy with that. She made a major deal about that. But at the end of the day, ma'am, you booked a Havana Cabana. And what you probably failed to do is you failed to read the description of the room. And if she has failed to read the description of the room, I know that there are multiple people out there in the cruise community in the past who have failed to read the description of the room. They saw it, they saw the price, and they just think like, oh, well, this looks good. And they don't really go into details. One exclusive way to find out the stateroom that you're about to book is by getting on YouTube. You can do Google, but YouTube allows you to see a visual representation of that room, if not the exact room, okay? So know this moving forward, if there's a specific room, like there's a room that you're looking at, and there's a specific room number that you want, and you type that same deck and same room number into YouTube, there might not be a video on that particular stateroom number, right? But there might be a replica, a different stateroom number, but the same layout. That's the best way to do it. And I don't think this lady happened to do that at all, because it made a cruise article. And in the article, it stated that she was having a fit. She wanted compensation. She wanted it to be known that she was not happy. Pretty much, oh my gosh.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
All right, there we go. Anyway, excuse me. Things happen. She wanted people to know that she was not happy about that. And yeah, and the first thing that I thought about is like, ma'am, you have to read the description. You got to read. You have to read. And a lot of people fail to read the fine print before they book their actual cruise. And I've talked about that in the past. So this video is to shed light on how important it is to understand what you're about to book. Not just the cruise and the itinerary, the amenities and the activities that it has on board, but the stateroom, the place where you're going to lay your head every single night throughout your entire cruise. Some people don't care about the room, but there are people out there who they care about it. So with that, I need you guys to utilize the resources that exist. YouTube, type in the stateroom name, and if you're trying to find the exact stateroom number, please do so. I want to show you guys where you could end up if you don't research your exact stateroom, okay? And some of you probably didn't even know that these things existed on certain ships. So I'm just gonna give you guys a few so that you can understand. So this first image I'm gonna put on the screen. You see that? That's a pillar in the middle of the stateroom. So imagine it being pitch black and you just forget that there's a pillar smack dead in the middle of the room, and you go to walk and you either stub your toe or bust your face on that pillar in the dark. Because if you've been on multiple cruises, there's no pillar in the middle of the floor. The most you're gonna get is a bed that's in the middle of the stateroom. But a pillar, no. You might want to research the room before you book it. And you would find this particular room by typing in the specific stateroom number. So say this room is room 2200 on deck 2, right? And you type it in YouTube and it pops up, room 2200 on deck 2 on Carnival, I don't know, whatever. And you see it, but you wanted to book it because of the placement, the location of said stateroom. But you see that video now, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm glad I searched this because I would be highly upset had I booked this room and got there and there's a pillar in the middle of my stateroom. Yeah, I'm on the ship. Yeah, I have a bed, a toilet, a shower, yada, yada, yada. But I don't want a pillar in the middle of my stateroom. You're paying for a cruise. You pay for what you want, right? You don't want a pillar in the middle of your stateroom, right or right? I rest my case. So moving to the next image. Yeah, y'all see that? That, based off of the decor and the color scheme, that is the spa room. That's a spa room. And you're probably looking like, well, why are the beds like that? Yeah, you would get on there, get to your room after 1:30 to realize, hey, my beds aren't, it's odd. And then you tell your stateroom attendant like, hey, can you push my beds together because it's odd? And then they come and tell you, oh no, this particular stateroom, the beds can't be moved because the closet, it's not in the image, but on the foot side of the bed that looks normal, the closet is like right there. The room, the layout is very, very odd. It's very, very, very odd. So imagine not researching this room and then booking it because, oh, I'm about to get a spa, Cloud Nine spa room. And then you end up in this, and it might be your honeymoon. You got a cruise bay or something. Y'all been talking for, a few months, and y'all was like, let's get the perks of the Cloud Nine spa. And you get there and y'all talking about all the things and hip hip hooray activities y'all gonna do next to each other in the bed. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. Cause what y'all gonna do with that? Not a doggone thing. Y'all ain't about to do nothing. Yeah, ain't nothing going down. Nothing but a whole bunch of sass talking attitude. And yeah. So you might want to research your rooms before you actually book them. Because I myself, I will be hot. But then I wouldn't be, I could only be mad at myself because I didn't research the room. But luckily, I'm a travel agent, so I know better. I know better. Moving on to the next. Now, you would think, oh my gosh, this is a balcony. Look at the water. Yeah, you out in the middle of the ocean. Do you not see how close that water is to your stateroom? Now, if you notice the little holes down at the bottom, that's water. Yeah, that's water down there. You know what kind of stateroom this is? This is what they call a cove balcony. This is actually deck 2. On most cruise ships, deck 2 is like a what? A window? Yeah. No, not on this one. This particular cruise ship, deck 2 is the cove balcony. Any type of storm that comes through, they're locking your balcony door. They're locking your balcony door. Look how close that water is to your feet. Yeah, that is very close. And any type of splashing, any mist, anything like that, you're gonna feel all of that. There's probably gonna be some rust. You know, I can only imagine they have a extra coating to protect it. You know, but if you see rust, because it's that salt water, it does do damage to the paint, which is why when you go to ports and you see them out there on the cranes and things like that, painting the sides of the ships and stuff like that, that's because they're doing their upkeep because that salt water, it can be damaging to paint, right? So they probably have to do the same thing, more than likely have to do the same thing for cove balconies, especially when they're that close to the water, especially on this particular ship. So if you're outside and you catch rain, a little, you know, some sea swells and things like that, yeah, your feet's probably gonna get wet because if you look close, there's water underneath that table. How you think that water got there? Yeah, that came from the ocean. That's how close you are to the ocean on a deck 2 cove balcony. So if you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a cove balcony. Well, it's on deck 2. Okay, well, it's on deck 2. I would think it's not that close to the water. And then you go ahead and book it without looking into it. And you get on there, now you feel like it's a safety hazard. No, you just gotta be an adult and be responsible. And hopefully you don't get too intoxicated and just happen to do what people have been doing very often for the last 2 years. Every other month or every month, it seems like somebody unfortunately goes overboard somehow, some way. I wouldn't want you to be one of those people because you failed to do your research and you're a drinker and you being that close to the water, you see a fish, oh, maybe I want to pet it, and you do something stupid like that. Okay? So yeah. Here's another angle with this same room. Also, if you look up, you don't just get to see like just straight up into the sky. No, you have the lifeboats right above you. And there are a percentage of people who do not like that view. They don't want to be able to look down and see the lifeboats. They don't want to be able to look up and see the lifeboats. They want to be able to see straight down to the water and straight up to the sky from their balcony. With this, you don't have that luxury. For some people, they may not mind this, but there are some people out there who do mind this and they will have a conniption fit. But guess what? You wouldn't know this particular stateroom is this close to the water, and you wouldn't know that the lifeboats are directly above your stateroom unless you did your research and pulled up your stateroom on YouTube. This is why it's important. This is why it's very important, okay? So those are the only images that I'm going to show you, and I hope those images gave you the understanding that you probably didn't have before, like, oh crap, I never thought about that. Or for the person or people who have booked a stateroom and they didn't get what they thought they was going to get and had an attitude about it. I hope this video is a reminder for both parties. Like, okay, yeah, I got a cruise that I want to book, but before I book my stateroom, I need to research the ship and the stateroom to make sure, like, hey, this is my stateroom. This is what it's going to look like. I want to make sure that if I get this one, I ain't going to have no pillar in the middle of my room or anything crazy like that, okay? If that's too much work for you, you might want to invest in a travel agent, a good travel agent. Now, I'm just going to put myself out there. I'm one, but if you don't want me, I understand. There are plenty of good travel agents on the market. Just be aware of the bad ones and the con artists, okay? Because they are lurking and they do exist. So hopefully this video was helpful and brought some awareness and very informative for all of you today. So if it was all of those things for you, do your boy a favor and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more cruise content, cruise news, and more. Simply remember, me genuinely, I want everyone to have a safe and amazing time on their cruise vacations. I love cruising. I love when people have amazing stories to tell when I go live, and it just makes me feel good. Knowing that I could be a part of someone's vacation and it was an outstanding vacation overall, all right? Genuinely. So always, always, always be grateful and embrace the day. And until next time, peace.